Okay, guys, a couple things. Regular Wednesday practice, first, second down install, some special teams things. From a health standpoint, we had some guys that were limited, as we have in the past weeks with Gavin Joseph doing parts, Vincent Jackson doing parts, Mark Barron has a hamstring. You guys, I think, have been made aware about Shepard being put on the IR. Which is unfortunate. He's really been a critical special teams player for us. So again, that'll be a big loss, both on, really on all big four teams. He's been a heck of a player. So we'll have to have someone step up there, or someone's step up there. One thing, just as we get towards the end of the year, after the season, I'll address where we are and all those things. But rather than have to keep saying it, that'll be after the season. I'll just say it in the front end that we'll talk about St. Louis today and the Bucks and this week in the game. So with that, any questions?
Greg, I know you've had time now to evaluate not only the last game, but the last few. What's going on with third down? That it seems like that's the point of the spear in terms of an offense that's really struggling.
Yeah, third down has been an issue for sure in the last. We're 6 for 35 in the last 35 third downs. We need to be better, obviously. A lot of different things. Again, it's the same old thing. If it's one guy or one thing, you fix it. It's been various breakdowns, various things. Some good defense, but as I said yesterday, whenever we met last, we're going to see good defenses. So that's not that's a factor to be included, but it is what it is. So. We have to do better, protection's part of it.
Is decision-making part of it on Mike's part?
For me to say in the last 35 he hasn't had a decision wrong, but not a lot. I wouldn't say that that's a big part of it, no. He reads it out pretty well. Again, no one's perfect. The last 35 plays, I'm sure he's read one incorrectly. But defenses will do that to you too. Experienced secondaries will do that to you. But that's not a big issue of it. Getting uncovered is an issue. Being able to get off of man coverage. We've struggled with that, no doubt about it.
He was asked something about throwing short of the sticks in a couple of plays, and mentioned that he had gone through his progressions, and that's what was there. Is your issue then just the initial reads not getting open at that point?
Well, some of them, yeah. I mean, certainly the initial read on a 3rd and 8 play is going to be for more than 8, and it may be for considerably more than 8. And usually the second read is going to be for the first down. So when you're throwing the ball to check downs or routes beneath the stick, unless you see a route that the guy comes shooting out and you give it to him right away, then that's a run and catch. And sometimes you do that. You have situations where you have some blockers on the other side and you're going to run and catch it and try to pop it. But that's a play by design. When you see late in the down that the ball gets thrown beneath the stick, that means that everything was taken away above the stick or at the stick, and then you need to, you give it a shot at least. It's better than taking a sack or scrambling for a no gain.
Greg, some of it, I would assume, is that you're in an awful lot of 3rd and longs, especially last week. I think you only had maybe 3 3rd and 4 or less. Is that just an indictment of, not an indictment, but is that an indication that you're not getting enough on 1st and 2nd down? It seems like naturally that's it.
Yeah, some of it, no doubt. Yeah, but I mean, 3rd and 8, that may not be the ideal. It may not be 3rd and 5, but you need to be able to throw the ball and catch it and convert a 3rd and 8. And that's not abnormal in the National Football League. We need to do a better job.
Greg, in a year's time, Mike Sullivan's offense has gone from 9th in the league, I think, to the best in franchise history, to 32nd. Is it personnel that's caused that mainly in your observation?
I don't think it would be fair to say it's one thing. If it's personnel, if it's scheme, if it's coaching, if it's performance, if it's there's a lot of things that go into it. Personnel has certainly changed quite a bit, but as I've said many times, a lot of teams have that issue where you have guys down. Do we have more than most? Yeah, we do this year. That happens sometimes, But our job as coaches is to take what we have and make sure that we can make that work. So we're struggling right now. There's no doubt, and we're trying to bust through it.
Greg, Mike statistically has struggled in the last 3 games. What do you think is led to that?
Well, again, there's a lot of things that go into it. Statistically, he has. Again, as I said after the game, I thought he did a lot of good things Sunday against a really good defense. I thought he was one of the brightest spots of the operation. But I have felt that, moving forward. Has it always been great statistically? No, but, taking care of the football until the last drive where we threw the one up. But I mean, that one is, you don't go down with the ball. He's taught in 4th and game, which that is 4th and 26. We don't make it, game's over. He's taught, don't worry about turning it over, to give it a shot, give your guy a shot. So, I think he's done a good job of taking care of the ball. He's done a good job of taking what's there. Sometimes there's not a lot there.
How effective have the receivers been in getting open collectively, maybe over the last month?
Well, I mentioned that. And, we've struggled a little bit at that. You have some guys that haven't played a ton of football, and when you have one that's played a ton and been very successful, it's not a mystery where they're going to roll coverages. And, when you make, it's almost like you have to cat and mouse it a little bit. Maybe you don't make Vincent the primary read because you need to give him a little time to get working. It has definitely been a challenge for our offensive staff. With Vincent being obviously a different level of performer at the wide receiver position, and then majority of the rest of the guys being kind of, new guys, rookies, second-year guys that haven't played. It's not easy for scheming and trying to get Vincent open. We've moved him around a lot. If you see, Vincent doesn't line up in the same spot hardly ever. Constantly moving him. So defenses at least have to figure out where he is, which you may say, well, that's not hard. He's there or he's there. But to have a whole coverage manipulated where Vincent lines up, it makes it a little more challenging. But people are onto that as well now, so they kind of hang it. But we're got some things hopefully this week that are going to help us and help the offense try to be a little bit better. And I think it was, I don't know who brought it up. Somebody brought it up about his 1st and 2nd down part of it. Absolutely. I mean, Sunday, 1st and 2nd down was part of it because we weren't very successful other than some no huddle stuff where we moved the ball. 1st and 2nd down running, we didn't run the ball well, which that in turn helps you be better on 3rd down.
Can you talk a little bit about their pass play this season?
Sorry, I missed that. Was
No, go ahead. Sorry.
in concert.
How do you feel the offensive line, his performance this season? I know you haven't had Carl, and Dad was working his way into it, but as far as, it seems like they've had some up and down course of the year.
Yeah, I'd say that's, a pretty accurate assessment and inconsistent performance. There's been times we've played well. Kind of phasing guys, getting them all going at the same time, that's been a little bit choppy. But then there's been times we have had everybody and still not, been great. And there's other times we played well. I think that's going to be a critical part of this football game, is that our front 5 really play a solid game. And not only in the pass protection, which everybody's aware of. I mean, they have the leading sacker in the National Football League, and they have a guy whose motor never quits on the other side. So, I mean, it is going to be a huge challenge protecting the quarterback, but running the football as well. I mean, we're gonna face some loaded boxes for sure, and we're gonna have to find a way to run the football and throw the football effectively on 1st and 2nd down, as well as do it better on 3rd down.
Talk a little bit more about their pass rush, in particular Quinn. I mean, everyone wants one of those guys that take over games like that. I know Gerald has those moments, but talk about what a guy like that can do to an offense.
Well, he's got 15 sacks and 7 forced fumbles. So that tells you something. He's as good at tomahawk chopping the backside of the quarterback. You haven't seen a guy do it with that effectiveness since LT. I mean, LT, we used to whack and knock that ball out, with a vicious tomahawk chop. And he's bringing it that way. I mean, 7 forced fumbles. Think about that. That's a lot of forced fumbles. And we played 14 games. That's pretty substantial for the defense.
It's a big challenge for Donald Penn.
Donald's-
and some help. Whatever.
Well, certainly you're not going to let him go it alone, but Donald's up for the challenge, no doubt. He's preparing, and he's a veteran guy. And we're gonna have to get that guy at least. You're going to stop him, no, but you got to at least don't let him take over the game. He'll make his plays. Our quarterback needs to be aware when you have a guy that is so adept at sack fumbling, you better have a nice tight grip on that football when you're in the pocket in case protection does break down. They're very keenly aware of where the ball is. Same thing with Long. Long is excellent body control and relentless.
Greg, looking back at it, do you think the team in general overestimated Davin Joseph's ability to return at the level everybody expected him to be at, that Pro Bowl level. Did it take him a little bit longer, do you think? Is he still struggling with that knee to play where he should be playing, or you thought he could play?
I don't think the team, when you say the team, you mean the coaches or?
I mean,
or
it wasn't just your decision. I mean, Mark's got a say in it, certainly Tom's got a say in it.
What do you mean, with not playing?
No,
What are you
not
suggesting?
playing, but did you think that he was gonna be at, this level, and maybe you realize after a few weeks, he's only here?
No, I've coached long enough to know I don't believe in Superman. You know, when you don't practice, and then you don't play in the preseason, but 20 plays, is he gonna start the first game and be a midseason form? No. Is Darrelle Revis, same thing, right? He didn't.
Yeah.
He didn't. I mean, look, when that happens, you gotta know that if everything clicks perfectly, yeah. But in life, not too many times does everything click perfectly, right? So I think Davin's done an incredible job. I think Davin played his best football game last week. I mean, he really is physical. He's been against great competition. So I think he is getting better every week. There's no doubt about it. I think we're trying to do everything we can to help him be better from a health standpoint. Giving him some rest. But as you get up there, he's played a lot of football too. So there's nothing wrong with giving some of the veteran guys a little more rest. But I can see him. It's unfortunate that we're almost out of time here. I'm sure he'd like to play more, but
Well, that's what I was getting at.
yeah. I think he's definitely on the ascension with his play. He probably would have liked it to ascend more quickly,
Yeah.
but he had a pretty serious deal going there. It wasn't an easy surgery, and then he got infected. So that's not a little thing.
Can you detail specifically some of the things that has made Will Golston progress from the X's and O's kind of techniques there?
I'd love to. It's first one I'm able to talk positive about something today. It's good. I'm not blaming you. There's enough to question. Trust me, I got it. But yeah, I'd love to answer your question. Will, a couple things about Will. Number one, he's immensely gifted, right? So he's big, he's fast, he's long, he's strong. All the things you want out of the defensive end. Came out early, so he's a little young, right? His best days are clearly ahead of him. And what we've tried to do is force feed him without suffocating him, if that makes sense. So we've given him what we feel was as much as he could handle early on, and maybe even a little more than he could. Right towards the beginning, middle of the season, we probably gave him a little more. But Will has really come on, and now you can see the light going on in different parts of his game. And he's recognizing things more quickly. He's playing with, that strength that he has, he's now playing with that strength. But again, that all, when you're a young player, and he's considerably young, he came out as a junior, when you're a young player who's figuring it out, a lot of your abilities kind of get squelched a little. And then as you start to be more comfortable with the defenses and the calls and the techniques, because it appears like you just line up and go straight ahead, but there's a lot more to it for the defensive ends. They have to play several techniques. They have to read defensive linemen as they're getting up the field. And what's happened through repetition and a lot of hard work, Will has gotten better and better. The other thing that Will's done, I told you guys week 8, that's 12 games for those rookies, and I met with all the rookies and explained to them, your college season just ended and we still have half a season to go. There's guys like Will and Spence, some of these young guys, and Johnny Banks, they've really taken care of their bodies, which I think has allowed Will to keep going on that ascension as well. So I'm really fired up about him, and we're going to need him this week. He's a guy who tries to do exactly what you coach him to do. He's knocking balls down, which he should with that long reach, but he's got, there's a sense that defensive linemen have when they rush the passer. Okay, I'm not going to get home, right? But I'm going to see the quarterback, and when that long arm comes off the football, boom, ours go up, and he's knocked some balls down. So, those are plays that you don't have to defend, you don't have to see the result, and maybe you get a tip ball interception. So that's why you like those big, long defensive ends. And I think we've all seen him when he's flat out turned and pursued to the football. But for a guy his size, he can really run. So that's pretty much the details I think on it. All right, guys, thank you.